team. But everyone please stand. Councilman Watson, would you please lead us in?
Thank you, Mr. Girlinghouse. You know, I know when in the ears of God, all prayers are beautiful, no matter who says them. But for the sake of those in this room, I'd like to ask Miss Sandy to pray because she puts words together a little better than I do. So, Miss Sandy, would you go to the Lord, lead us in prayer?
Thank you. Lord God in heaven, we just thank you for being able to come here tonight in the freedom in which we stand. Lord, we ask that you watch over each one of us. Give each councilman and our parish president and our legal counsel, Lord, the wisdom and the knowledge they need to make good decisions. Lord, we ask for your protection. We ask, Lord, that this is the beginning of a new year, and we pray that everything we do brings you honor and glory, Lord, lest it be done in vain. Lord, we promise to give you all the glory because you alone are worthy. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, Mr. Watson, do you think you can lead us in the pledge?
Well, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You did move. I had some help.
Miss Sandy, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Ard.
Here.
Mr. Wascom.
Here.
Mr. Girlinghouse.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Talbert.
Here.
Mr. Lobel.
Here.
Mr. Averitt.
Here.
Mr. Mack.
Item 5, election of officers. Item B is the new election for the new year for the council chairman, which is the seat that I currently occupy. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jeff Ard.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Ard, second by
You pick a number.
Mr. Harris.
There you go. Let the
All
old man do it.
right. All right, so we got a motion in a second. So before we call the vote, I'd like to make a few statements in my best John Wascom manner.
Oh, no.
Here it goes. First of all, look, this job is made abundantly easier by the staff that we have working for us. Miss Sandy, Miss Pam, Lauren, Angie, all of them just give you the information you need. They supply it to you on a steady basis. Sandy in particular, she'll give me everything I ask for, give me a bunch of stuff I don't ask for, and give me some stuff that I need that I didn't know I need. And of course, our legal counsel, second to none. Yeah, always answers the phone when I call. Always is there when I have a question, and if he'll just find out the answer for me, and it's good. So I appreciate it. Yes, guys, thank you so much. I said from the beginning that I always believed that this job was probably 80% common sense, and I still believe that to be true. 80% of what we do, if you just got some common sense, you know the right answer and the right direction to go. But the 20% that it isn't, well, you got to have someone tell you where to go, and you got to learn those things, and that's what these guys do, and they do it with the utmost ability and integrity. So I would like to give those guys a hand, please. Secondly, I would like to say that I don't want to demean the position of the co-chair. A lot of people don't see that the co-chair just kind of sits there, but he's my other set of eyes and ears. He sees the things I don't see and hears the things that I don't hear from the crowd, and he'll kind of point out something or whisper something to me, and that's imperative. It's very good, and that's the job that Jeff was tasked, Mr. Ard was tasked with this last year, and he did it very, very well. And I can tell you, I missed a meeting at one point during the year. It was a very busy, very contentious meeting, and I did not know that I was going to have to miss this meeting until like 2, I think it was, of that day. And I called him and I said, "Look, I hate to do this to you, partner, but I ain't gonna make it tonight. You got to handle it." He did not bat an eye. He said, "Yep, I got it. Don't worry about it." And I thought, man, I don't know if I could have been that way when I was Mr. Watson's co-chair. I'd have been like, ugh. But he did a great job. And so I do appreciate that, Jeff. I appreciate you being there and pointing things out to me for me and everything. So with that in mind, we got the motion in a second. Ms. Sandy, I'd call for the vote, please.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Loscom.
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse.
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Talbert.
Yes.
Mr. Lobel.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avery.
Yes. Congratulations, Bob.
All right. See, look here. Gentlemen.
Second one first.
Like Walker's trying to run things around here.
Well, you know, it's the way it's meant to be. and go Cats.
Jeff, you want to move your name tag over?
Oh, yes, because Tracy's used my name before.
More than just right here, too.
I thank all y'all for trusting in me on this. I guess the only thing I got to say is Scooter King.
And I just somehow knew that was coming.
Believe it or not, he's not as nice as me.
If he gavels me, we're going to talk about it. Let's say that between us.
All right. First order of business is need to have a nomination for co-chair.
I make that nomination I nominate Mr. Bubba Harris.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Lobel. Ms. Sandy, call for the vote.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Loscom.
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Talbert.
Yes.
Mr. Lobel.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Right. Bubba Harris, the old man is stepping to the floor.
Well, I wanted to sit over there, so so that's why I nominated Bubba.
Won't have to look both directions.
I'm closest to the door and the food, so Bubba wins just because he's the closest
I've
to the door.
enjoyed sitting by you for 2 years.
I've enjoyed being here for 2 years. Hope I'm here for another 2 years.
All right.
We'll get the CPR machine and the heart. How you on? I'm doing good. Thank you, buddy. That's fine. We got too much. That's all right.
He likes it. He likes it.
Yep.
Who I like it over here?
Thank you.
Gonna be stinking up our west side.
I am West Side, son.
No, you're the middle.
All right, this time I'd like to remind everyone, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or mute it.
Thank you so much.
Also, for public input, anyone wishing to address an agenda, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and we'll let you address it. 7A, we have a presentation tonight. Bubba, you want to come help me do this out here?
Yes, I will. We can get a walker for you if you need one.
Lord. Pushing it, I might want to use that guy. Wait a minute, what they call that old man from?
Yeah.
While Ms. Sandy's getting that, just so y'all know, we had a contest before Christmas to have high schoolers draw a different pictures for our Christmas card to mail out from the council. We chose this card right here. All the different pictures were laid out on the table, and each council took its turn voting. This one wound up winning our card. So the ones of y'all that got one of our cards, this is what the cover of it looked like. So Because we picked this card, we would like to give the first Johnny F. Bell Artistic Achievement Award to Miss Casey Robinson. The Livingston Parish Council is proud to present this certificate of achievement to recognize an original art entry that was chosen for the 2017 Parish Council Christmas card cover. We are proud to honor Casey along with the students and teachers who are part of the Livingston Parish School Board Gifted Talented Program. Congratulations and job well done.
Thank you.
Sandy was like, look, my home improvement, you come and see it.
You want to get a picture?
All the kids and my grandkids in town from Austin and St. Louis and the full house, man. It was 10 days. Took her game today. You know, I should have. I thought you was going to start with that charity. I would. That crowd was pretty good. I thought my family was leaving that day, and it turned out to be a good day. And the weather wasn't too bad.
Oh, okay, yeah, you got it. Get it down.
So shit goes
Hey.
loud.
You gotta get the whole allied ballot.
We had to slap on the side of the
Sing above and sing, that's all allied got.
We don't see nothing on Facebook.
Yeah, y'all did note that she was attending Live Oak High School, junior from Live Oak High School.
Live Oak High School.
Everybody was aware of that.
Yeah, Gary, we need to go make sure of that. Maybe you would cover that part.
And that's another reason that.
All right, number 8, adopt the minutes from the December 14th, 2017 regular meeting of the council.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Avery, second by Mr. Wasserman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Ms. Sandy, we're going to go ahead and do the addendum A1. Is Jennifer still in? Yes. Can get Jennifer started. Ms. Myerson, go home with her son.
Yeah.
She'll answer any real questions, but basically we're, and thank you, Councilman Orr, asking y'all to accept the sole bids for auditing services from Report for the year ending 12/31/2017. Their bid was for $61,500.
Yes, sir.
And they were 67 last year. They were the only ones that bid this time. The ads were run in the newspaper. Emails were sent to roughly 8 different firms. So I think it's a good bid. They're a great firm and they've done a good job. So we're asking y'all to support them for this auditing.
Jennifer, I noticed on the scope of work, you talked about the required, they would audit the financial statements of the council in according to 4 or 5 different standards.
Yes, sir.
But it did not address the legislative auditor agreed upon procedures. And since there are 31 different procedures that they've got to look at and run,
If they're not in that proposal, they're in the engagement letter.
okay, well, I mean, it just did not address it in the proposal. And I know in the past that, there were only things would get looked at given the fact that they were one of the selections. And now that there are 31 things that they're going to look at whether they were a selected item or not that got, randomly pulled. So in talking to different firms and looking at the number of hours that they talked about that it might possibly require them man hours to run these tests on these new 31 procedures, I'm just wondering, since it wasn't defined in the scope of work, if this dollar amount's gonna be sufficient to cover that.
I would have to look at what they submitted, I'm not sure.
Okay, I mean, my concern is that we put forth a scope of work that didn't identify the fact that the legislative auditor now requires additional work. And so I'm just concerned that, given the fact that they responded at 61.5, if we're looking at another 100 or 200 man hours to run those 31 tests, we could be looking at, $13,000 to $25,000, $26,000.
No. They're gonna
Well,
do it-
I mean,
they're gonna
I'm
do it
just-
for
I mean-
61.5.
Well, but this,
They're aware of the legislative auditor changes.
Yeah, because they've already sent me
They've
what
already
the changes
sent.
are, so we would be aware that.
That's how we knew that all that had been
Additional
done.
information this year.
well, I mean.
So they're aware of that.
But when you go back and look at the scope of work that we require them to do and the price they bid, I just want to make sure we don't have any loopholes for them to come back and bid us, raise the deal and require for additional money based on the fact that we didn't identify
We
the
won't approve.
legislative auditor stuff in respect.
We won't approve any additional dollars, because they've
Well, I
been out
mean-
here, they know. I mean, they've done our auditing, so they're the ones that alerted us to it, so they're well aware of that they have to cover that.
So what you're saying, Mr. Ricks, is there won't be any
No,
additional charge?
they're not gonna charge any additional money.
Okay.
So if y'all comfortable that they're not, I mean, I'm just looking, I go look at the RFQ request and look at the scope of work that's defined and realize that we don't address the new legislative auditor procedures. I'm concerned that at the end of the audit, and they look at their time situation involved, and we didn't request that there's gonna be some, there could possibly be a problem later on.
I'm giving you my word, they're gonna do it for that.
You said they brought them to your attention, right?
Yeah, I mean, they did.
They're professionals, that's what they
Yeah.
So what you were saying is that it didn't specifically spell it out in
But
what
they know
they
the
got
story.
from us, but they know about it, so.
Absolutely, they alerted us
They
to
sent
it.
me the list of what they were going to be asking for.
So,
So the 31 tests, like, they're gonna look at credit cards now when they would only do it before if it came up randomly. They're gonna go to cash disbursements at every different location that we take in money and audit those particular locations. Is that my understanding of how the deal works with the?
It's basically tests they already provide, they just have a standard of what they have to test for. Like, the legislative auditor may say that instead of just randomly testing 2 bank statements like they do every year, they give us a random selection, they'll say, give me June and August bank statements, and they'll review those. The legislative auditors may say that they need to look at every reconciliation for one specific cash account, like choose the biggest cash account and review every month's reconciliation. It just changes a little the way they look at things. Instead of randomly selecting 4 expense reimbursement reports, they may say select 4 employees and test every expense reimbursement report for those 4 employees. It just changes the scope of things they already look at.
Okay, now, in your opinion, given the changes, is it going to require them to put forth more man hours to do the work?
I don't believe so. I mean, a little bit, but the way that John said we would approach it was he will go ahead and I'll send him all of our reports of every check number issued, every expense reimbursement issued, and they can go ahead and pre-select the stuff. And so they'll give it to us the night before they're going to show up, and I'll have it ready for them when they show up that morning, so that they're not sitting there waiting on us to bring them the information.
So y'all comfortable with the fact that this is going to be done at 61.5,
Yes, sir.
even with the additional work that the state auditor is going to require?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any more comments? Comments from the public? Councilman? I'll have a motion to accept.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Tracy, second by Mr. Wascom. Ms. Sandy, call for the vote.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
No.
Mr. Lavelle?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
And this is to
Thank you,
appoint a
Council.
court, correct?
Yeah. Well,
Do you want to do my other part, or you want to?
You next anyway.
Does she have anything else she's got to do?
No.
The Sam thing, she wrote the letter. Does she need to address that or not?
Jennifer, you need to be here for Sam's?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
Okay.
thank you, Jennifer.
All right, number 9, parish president's report.
There's a group of, there's 20 parish presidents that have gotten together, and we now have, I guess, a club. But we meet periodically and we discuss different issues that come up. And one of the things that came up after the August flood was a mutual aid agreement. And all that is that when parish, like if we flood and we need Tanspo Parish or East Baton Rouge, with mutual agreements in place, we can cross parish lines and help one another out. Without that, what's happened in the past is they have to call a special council meeting in the middle of the disaster to try to round up the troops to get them out. As you know, like in August, we were all flooded. And try to get something in place to be able to be half for reimbursement purposes and things like that. So what we decided to do was put a letter together that we would all be able to cross over and help one another. We've all signed the letter, but I was the last one realizing that I needed to get a resolution to really give it some meat. And when they made me realize that back in October, then we decided to wait till this year to go ahead and get that done. So the letters are signed, but we need a resolution authorizing and approving that. And the other 19 have done so. So I'm a little behind, and thankfully we haven't had any issues since we decided to do this. So I'm asking y'all to approve me doing that.
I'll make a motion, Jim.
Motion by Mr. Cobb, second by Mr. Lobel. All in favor? All opposed?
Thank you, Council. The next time, I guess, is on the material. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to pull this podium back a little bit. We kind of on top of it.
Hey, you do whatever you need. You okay?
I appreciate that. Okay, first on my agenda is to reject this road material supply bid for hydraulic fluids. This was kind of confusing. It was kind of an oversight on me. The bid, one turned in a quote delivered, one turned in a quote they charged for delivery. So we rejected it, and we're going to go back out for bid and kind of qualify what we need. So I need a resolution from you guys to reject this hydraulic fluid bid, and we'll move forward with an additional bid.
I'll offer that. We have a motion by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Avery.
And I'll
Any
put a
comments
sheet in
from?
front of you.
Yeah, we got it.
Any comments from the public? Any more comments from the council? Ms. Sandy, call for the vote.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Wescombe?
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. Lobel?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Sam, while you have the podium, if you want to
Thank you.
take care of 11A.
First on the Planning Commission agenda is subdivision width improvements. This is the developer's HHFS subdivision, but it's now been changed to the Lakes and North
That's
Park.
something different. They ain't doing.
This is Mr. Scooter's district.
Yeah, he's on the addendum.
Sir?
You doing the addendum right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that since you started.
Okay. Mr. Scooter was present at our Planning Commission meeting last night, so he's very familiar with the project.
Yes, sir.
It is a recommendation of the Livingston Parish Planning Commission to approve the preliminary plat for the Lakes at North Park, 6 files.
Yeah, and I had a few questions. I've been getting some calls from the people in the Lakes at North Park, and they were, it's actually a piece of land inside their subdivision. They building another subdivision. And that's what it appeared they were doing, and come to find out they have made it to 6th filing of their subdivision, and they're going to be governed by their own HOA and covenants that are already in place, and we talked about it with the engineer, and there was some discrepancy on the sign name and some other things, and I'm going to let that go as long as they do know that it's going to, if it comes back to us and it's not the Lakes at North Park 6th filing, it's going to be pulled. We're going to have to go back through it again.
And if that happens, I will bring it back to the council.
Right, and so I make a motion to accept your recommendation that the preliminary plat will accept it.
Sam, are they going to be required to run it? Are they going to be required to do an additional or new drainage impact study on the whole deal?
Yes, sir.
They're going to do that. I think that was included in the first
Yeah, they had told me, Eddie had told me it was all done, but it's been so many years that he said it's probably gonna show the same thing, but,
Right, well, we're adding a new detention pond for this area.
so it'll have to change. Okay.
Can you come to the podium and tell us?
Yeah.
They deferred.
It's Thomas Johnson with Alvin Fairburn and Associates, and they are adding a new detention pond for this new development, so we will be doing a new drainage
Okay,
impact study.
good. That'll help the people.
Make sure everything flows correctly.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're gonna do it from the start. You're not gonna use old data and just
I
apply
mean, we
it.
probably will use some of the old data because we have it, but there will be new data to go with the old data.
Okay, but this track that you're cutting this new subdivision was not part of the original drainage impact study on the original
Yeah, I think
development,
it
was
was.
it?
It probably was,
It
but
was.
it's so old, it's gonna have to be revised.
Chad showed me the map, it's on there.
It was originally.
It was included, but since we're adding a new detention pond in the area, we're gonna have to be, and I'm assuming so, we're gonna use some of the old data to go with this, but we will be using, having to do new data as well to create this new DIS.
And I noticed y'all left a T-turn on the back, which obviously means you look at doing further development behind this
It's
area.
actually two.
Correct.
Right, so given that situation, that new development would have to have their own drainage impact study also? Or would,
Well, if they determine the whole area to be a subdivision, I mean, they wouldn't have to come back if they want to say it's got future development. He can go ahead and propose he's got lots of them in there. If you,
so you would just go ahead and address the
whole piece.
footprint change in the new part when you did the drainage impact study on the additional deal, or would you?
Well, for the sixth filing, we're gonna have another drainage impact study for sixth filing. If the owner decides to go ahead and go forward with a seventh filing, I guess you could call it, there would be another addition to the DIS or revision of the DIS for the sixth filing to include the seventh filing into it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
I just wanted to be sure that when we do these drainage impact studies for future development, we either addressing the footprint change in the future and building retention to accommodate it early, or that we're making them start over every time they add lots to it, so that we
a
don't.
lot of times they'll take care of it when they do the whole development. They'll take care of the drainage impact study, including the lakes and detention all at one time. So they'll
Right.
catch it. And they may end up doing that on this one. Thomas might not.
It's easier for us to do a drainage impact study if we know what the full development was going to look like. If we were submitting a preliminary plat for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, or filings, we could do a detention DIS for all of that at one time. But without knowing what the future development's going to look like, it's kind of hard to do a drainage impact study because we don't know where the streets are going to be. We don't know where drainage is going to be, and if we do need to increase the size of the pond for the next filing, then of course we'll increase the size of the pond to handle the extra detention.
I think that's why they're putting that pond where they are, because there will
Right.
be room to
There's
make
some
it
more
bigger.
room for
Yeah.
growth in that area if we need to, for future.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're satisfied on that. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank y'all.
All right.
Any more comments from the public? Councilman?
I make a motion.
Got a motion by Mr. King. I'll second. Second by Mr. Harris. Ms. Sandy, call the vote.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is a waiver for additional lots on a servitude. This is presented to you by Mr. Lloyd Spring. Alvin Fairburn Jr. and Associates is the engineer. And this is in Mr. Gary Talbot's district, which he did attend the Planning Commission meeting last night. It is a recommendation of the Livingston Parish Planning Commission to approve the waiver for the additional lot on Joel Ott Drive for Lloyd A. Spring.
This is an area kind of in the heart of Watson that, they've already exceeded the number of lots on the minor subdivision deal by, 4 or 5 already?
Bunch of them.
Yeah. And I think the last house that just got built there probably going to have a value of over $600,000. So the people that are buying lots in there are well aware of where they're buying and what they're getting, and they know that they're buying on a private road. But it's an area that they can get large lots, and kind of get the environment they want in an area that's kind of convenient without having to go way out in the country. I mean, people think Watson's a country, but everybody's way worse than that. But the lots are like 3.6 acres apiece. And I know 2 of the lots are being sold already. Matter of fact, the guy his intent was to buy the whole 10.99 and divide it, and just couldn't make it work, so they had to break it into 3. And I think this is, even though it's a waiver on our minor subdivision, it's a common sense deal that we're not breaking it up into little, quarter acre lots or third acre lots. We're breaking it up into estate type lots that aren't going to be re-subdivided again. So I would ask the council to approve this and like to make a motion.
I second that.
Motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. Garlinghouse. Any comments from the public? Any more comments from the council? Ms. Sandy, you call for a vote?
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
Mr. Liddell?
Yes.
Mr. Averitt?
Yes.
Okay, next is a multifamily development. This is at the Palms at Juban Lakes, Phase 2. This is in Mr. Bubba Harris's district. It is a recommendation of the Livingston Parish Planning Commission to approve the preliminary site plan for the Palms at Juban Lakes, Phase 2, and Morningside.
I'll offer a motion to go ahead and accept it.
Got a motion by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Watson. Any comments from the public? Council.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions about it. We were talking about this during the planning meeting last night, and this is going to be a couple hundred more cars a day, 400 possibly on that road.
Buddy Ellis.
On Buddy Ellis Road. And it's already heavily traveled and it's little bitty. Are they going to do drainage impacts?
will do some
Traffic
drainage
impact?
study, yes.
And the drain, what about the traffic?
The traffic is going to be addressed too. I think we've requested turning lanes in there, haven't we, Jack?
Yeah, I think so.
Mr. Murray, we've got the engineer and the developer here. Mr. Murray.
We talked about it a little bit after the meeting, but I didn't bring it up during the meeting because
Good evening. My name is Murray McCullough with Benchmark Group, 11328 Pennywood Avenue in Baton Rouge. Yes, to answer your question, in fact, the construction plans for a turn lane have already been submitted to the engineer review agent and approved for the development that's going on back there already. So it will be, utility poles are being moved and getting out of the way, and we're constructing that as we speak. So.
and those traffic plans are on Buddy Ellis or on the road that this actually
No,
comes on?
it's on Buddy Ellis.
Okay.
It's a turn lane on Buddy Ellis into
To get into it? Okay.
Yes, sir. To get
All
the
right.
traffic off the travel ways, allow them to slow down and make their right turn.
Will that affect our MPO project on that road at all?
I think so.
Okay.
This was something that Bob and I put together. We got with Mr. McCullough as well as the developer. They was in agreement with everything we asked for, and
Well, easier in and out makes people want to buy them more and live there, so that's good.
How deep is that turning lane? 3 cars, 4 cars?
No, so I think, I don't have the plans in front of me. It's more than that. I can't remember. It's probably 150 feet.
Oh,
plus
yeah,
a
okay.
cable.
Is it a center? Is it a center left and a right deceleration?
No, so it's a right turn lane for eastbound traffic on Buddy Ellis.
So there's no provision for the left turn lane into the...
Coming out?
No, sir. Coming out, there's
Well, the left turn coming into the place. If you're crossing
from
the
the other
traffic,
way?
you're crossing the traffic. There's no provision for a turn lane
there's no
there.
left turn lane. No, sir. But
Buddy Ellis.
I would
Where
have
that
to say
is, most of the
majority
people are
the
gonna be
traffic
coming
turning
going
in
east.
Will be turning, either turning right, eastbound traffic turning right into Village Lane, or traffic turning left out of Village Lane on the Buddy Ellis. I don't think there's a tremendous amount of traffic that's actually turning left from Buddy Ellis into the development.
Because it's way on the other
Interstate
end.
access
You're right.
lane is the
Yeah.
other
Wouldn't
direction.
make sense to come in from
Yeah,
Walker in. Right. Okay.
The hospital's
I don't know if I quite like the way you put it like that, man.
the hospital.
People don't come from the east side.
Not over here.
Is this going to be another senior development? Is this all senior development?
No, so not all of it. There's, on the same plat, there were 2 sections, if you will, one called the Palms Phase 2 and one called Morningside. Morningside is a senior living, 55 and over, empty nester type development.
The Palms is just open.
Yes, so the Palms is a market rate multifamily development, much like what's under construction, what's already been constructed, what's actually under construction out there at this time.
Okay.
And I know you probably answered Phase 2. How many units is that adding?
I got the plat with me back here. I think
You can give me a
phase two of
general.
the Palms was 168 units, and then the Morningside's 128 units, or somewhere thereabouts. I have the plat, I'll get you the exact.
I mean, that's close, it's just an approximation. Okay, thank you.
600 cars.
Council
Yeah.
Good? Do you have any comments from the public?
Hi, I'll take Buddy Ellis.
Come to the podium and tell us your name.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Muriel Laws, and I take Buddy Ellis quite often. So my question is, what comes first, the development or the road?
They're working on the road tonight. They're working on the turning lanes tonight.
So that should be in place ahead of the development then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Chad,
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
is the traffic impact study that requires the right turn lane, is that into account only on this part that's being developed now, or is that the whole projected future? I mean, I guess my question is, I mean, when you develop a subdivision, in theory, every time you add a phase to it, you're supposed to either revisit the traffic impact study, you know, with the state on a state highway, this being a parish road, every time they add, are they going to revisit the traffic study? Or did the traffic study that didn't require a left turn lane take into account all this future development at the same time?
This right turn lane will accommodate the development. I mean, it's 150, I think it's like 150 to 300 foot taper. So, I mean, whatever traffic you got coming in from that direction is going to be able to use the right turn lane. Like, it's not going to enlarge the right turn lane, I guess. It may add something else, but.
I guess my question is, okay, after the phase 2 at Juban Palms is done, and they move on to whatever this, you know, stuff is on the right side of Village Lane.
Yeah, I think that's, the original one didn't have a turn lane, so this turn lane is being added for these other phases as well.
So are you confident that every time they come to us and you do a traffic impact study, they're not going to need a left turn lane on Buddy Ellis? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out if did we address the whole proposed development for the construction now with the road, or are we going to, as they piecemeal put this together, going to revisit the traffic impact study every time?
If they do come back and add something from, they would have to add another turn. They would have to do something more with the traffic impact study. But this piece of property is being developed out completely with what he has right there, and that turn lane is accommodation.
So that's the end of it after.
So basically, you're telling me that we're looking at this whole track on this map.
That's it. That's the rest of it. Yeah, the two new pieces that he's added, the morning side, I think he's called it, and the part 2 on the Juban, is the rest of that property. If I'm not misunderstanding that. Okay. So yeah, if anything else gets added to that, he would have to revisit the traffic at that time.
Okay, so do you see what we're seeing here? This map with Village Lane, this map that shows Village Lane, this is built.
No, these are the two new ones right here.
This is built already.
That's correct.
So with this, there was no traffic that needed a turn lane at all.
That's right.
And so when we added this, we needed a right turn lane, but we still don't need a left turn lane.
That's correct.
Okay.
I know one thing. I get calls every week on Buddy Ellis, and I'm sure Tracy does too.
Yeah, and some of that may be some of the state highway that we can't really do much about. We're going to have to fix the intersections they have on the state highway, so.
That'll calm down a little bit for all of us, Jeff, whenever this Buddy Ellis gets widened a little bit and
It needs widening.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
I think to meet an MPO project, doesn't it have to go to 22 feet?
Not quite that wide, but we are going to widen it.
You're going to get it as wide as you can get
That's
it in
right.
there.
That's right.
Without having to purchase
That's
additional
exactly
right of way and move the ditches.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, too expensive.
That's
Okay.
it.
Yep, all right.
Thank you, Chad.
Thanks,
All right,
Chad.
thank you.
All right. Who's my motion? Mr. Harris and Mr. Lawson, the second. Call for the vote, machine.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Mr. Wasson?
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
Mr. Loville?
Yes.
Mr. Ager?
Yes.
Dawson Creek has been deferred till February.
So for the addendums, Mr. Sam, if you want to go ahead and do number 11, that's Department of Public Works, 11A.
Is that ready to go, Mr. Sam?
Fairlane Farms.
Fairlane Farms, placement of,
I think that's been pulled off the agenda because they didn't get all the paperwork in.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it.
Again?
all right.
Yep. I think that it wasn't signed. I think the paperwork's in place, but it wasn't signed and got to our office. So we're,
Okay.
as far as we're concerned, it's not there.
All right.
Thomas might be able to, I don't think Thomas is handling that project, but Alvin Fairman, I think the area is. But I think it's been deferred because of lack of signature.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Sam. Thank you, Mr. Sam.
Number 10, everyone's favorite Homeland Security, Mr. Mark Harrell.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
Glad to have you. And I'd like to take a moment to tell Mr. Girlinghouse that I have enjoyed a year with you. It's been fun, so just want you to know that.
Thank you, Mr. Earl. It's not over yet.
No, and I hope to have as much fun with Mr.
You think he was fun?
Pardon me?
Did you think he was fun?
I love it.
It's just a barrel of fun over there.
He didn't start off with I love you.
Hey, well,
I didn't get a I love you.
I do want to, I'm glad you brought that up. I do love each one of you, but I would like to say that
You love me the most?
Mr. Girlinghouse went out here and was hugging people earlier. And I just want to say that myself, and I think Joe as well, felt that we were slighted a little bit because you didn't give us any attention. But I'm good with that for tonight.
He missed you, he didn't see you, and he couldn't get around Joe.
I heard he overlooked me.
All right. A on this is just another acquisition. It's been T-Bolts in Mr. Tableau Bell's area. It's just one of many to come. And seeking an ordinance to purchase this piece of property.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Lobel, second by Mr. Avery.
It's an introduction.
Need to
It's
read
an
it?
introduction.
This thing is going to read by title.
This will be our first one of the year. This
One
is
of
proposed
many.
ordinance 18-01. This is an ordinance to acquire movable property for the parish of Livingston pursuant to Flood Mitigation Assistance Program Project Number FMA-PJ 06LA 2016-016 Livingston Parish. And the property in question is addressed at 318 Kivo Plaza, Springfield, Louisiana. The public hearing will be on January 25th at 16.
I guess call for a vote, Ms. Sandy?
Who made the motion in a second? Was
Mr. Lobel and Mr. Avery.
Mr. R?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. Lobel?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Number 2 is a water extension that we've been working on for years off of Blay Hut. Again, that is in Mr. Lobel's area. He's aware of it. I get calls from Mr. Lobel weekly on why we're only doing so much of it. We're doing what we have in the grant. I think this is the 3rd year that we've done this one. I'm hoping one more year we'll continue it out, catch the other water line, and we'll meet the state requirements of having a loop so we have backup water to this community. They just, every year they're dropping what they're giving us for the grant. So 1 year, maybe 2, depending on what they cut it for this year, we'll have this completed for you. I'm sorry it didn't get to the next group, but this is the best we can do. And I'm asking for a resolution to authorize Mr. Lake to sign the contract so we can move forward with this project.
Get a little bit closer.
I'll make that motion. Good.
Motion by Mr. Lobel,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Girlinghouse.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
why are we in the water business there?
We have started this process years ago. And as we do it, and it's completed, it turns over to French Settlement Water. It's just the way the process has been going. I think this is my third, fourth year to do it.
So everything that you're doing, you turn it over to French Settlement Water?
As soon as we do the substantial completion and the health department says it's good, we turn it over to them. So one more, maybe two more, will meet the state requirement. They couldn't do it, but they're taking the system. We're just trying to fulfill our obligation to have a backup water system. Once we're through with it, we make that loop, we're out of it. And hopefully don't do water. I don't like doing water or sewer because it's a difficult thing to get processed.
I know we lose money in the sewer system we operate. I'm just wondering how we got into those situations.
I don't know. That's before our time.
I got you.
I'm just trying to complete the system.
There's not a lot of money in water either.
Nope. But then you have councilmen.
Any more comments from the council? Any comment from the public? Call for the vote.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Mr. Liddell.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm going to end this with peace out.
All right, Mark, have a good one.
All right. Number 12. Do I need to ask for a motion to go into public hearing?
Just declare it.
All right. We're now entering a public hearing.
Thanks, Terry.
This will be for Brandy Sears River Highland Drive, servitude with a case. Ms. Sandy, would you like to read?
This is proposed ordinance 17-48. This is an ordinance revoking a certain 15-foot servitude located on lot 141 of River Highland, Second Highland subdivision, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, identified by the crosshatch marks portion of lot 141 of River Highland, Second Highland subdivision, on the special purpose survey to revoke a 15-foot servitude on lot 141 of River Highland, Second Highland, situated in section 23, township 9 south, R4E, east of the Mississippi River, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, in favor of the landowner being more particularly described herein.
Do we have any comments from the public on this? All right, we're now closing the public hearing.
Did we pass, Sandy, didn't we create a checklist on everything that we've got to do on these revocations? Has this thing met the standard? It passed?
Yes, we asked.
Okay.
I went down and looked at it, Gary. It kind of makes sense.
Okay, I mean, I just want to make sure that we put forth something so that we don't ever have to go back and
Redo it.
undo what we've done. I just want to be sure that that this met the standard and all the requirements.
If it don't meet the requirements, it don't make it to us.
Okay.
That's right.
That's how it should be. That's good. That's good.
Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make it.
Motion by Mr. Lobel, second by Mr. Avery.
Second over here.
Ms. Sandy, you can call for the vote.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Mr. Liddell.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, number 13, we're now entering a public hearing. This will be adoption of LP ordinance number 17-49, dissolve Whispering Springs Community Development District. Ms. Sandy, would you read it, please?
This is an ordinance dissolving Whispering Springs Community Development District within the parish of Livingston, state of Louisiana, in compliance with the provisions of Chapter 27B, Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended, Louisiana Revised Statute 33, 9039.11 to 33, 9039.37 inclusive.
Are there any comments from the public? We're now closing the public hearing. Comments from the council?
Chris, you reviewed this and everything's in order?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. Girlinghouse. Call for the vote, please.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Mr. Lovell.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
All right, number 14, we're now entering a public hearing for the adoption of LP ordinance number 17-50. Amend LP number 17-43. Ms. Sandy, would you like to read?
This is an ordinance to amend Livingston Parish Ordinance Number 17-43, adopted on November 21st, 2017, Chapter 13, Plan and Development, Article 1 in general, by amending the section number of this ordinance from Section 13-3 to be read and known as Section 13-4, Streets, Quitclaim, Servitude, and Rights of Way Revocation Procedure of the Code of Ordinances entered for the parish of Livingston.
Any comment from the public? We're now closing the public hearing. Any comments from the council?
Sandy, this just a housekeeping deal?
Yes, sir. During our recodification, we assigned the same section number.
Okay. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Talbot. Second by Mr. Harris. Ms. Sandy, please call the roll.
Mr. Ard.
Yes.
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Girlinghouse.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Talbot.
Yes.
Mr. Lovell.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Number 15, addition of roads to be added for consideration to the priority road list. Mr. Jeff Avery.
Yes, I want to add this subdivision with their roads in there. They're horrible. Get them on get them scored.
How old South Haven, Jeff?
I don't know exactly how old it is, Gary, to be honest with you.
About 25 years
About
old.
25 to 20 years,
Yes.
somewhere in there.
They opened that around the time I was graduating high school.
Have they ever been overlaid since
Yeah,
it's
that was
been?
30.
I don't think.
I don't remember it
They
ever.
got potholes.
I said around the time.
They got some eat your truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't good.
We got
You got a leak.
That chair's working exactly the way I rigged it.
Get you some jack stands on that thing.
put a speed on this chair.
But yeah, well, I'd like to add them to the priority road list, get them scored.
Okay. You make a motion?
Motion by
I'll make
Mr.
a motion,
Avery.
yeah.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. King. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Number 16, board reappointments and accept board resignation. Gravity Drainage District Number 1, Mr. John Wascom and Mr. Bubba Harris.
No, it's me.
Yeah, I think
It's all of us.
I have one appointment that's coming up, and he was a replacement of someone who resigned. So I believe that's for Chris Whitmire. Is that correct? I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Chris Whitmire for another term for the Gravity Drainage 1.
Can we do all the
Can we do
gravity
them all at
ones?
one time?
I think so.
All right, anybody else has got one for Gravity
You want to do
Drainage
your
District
new one, or you
1?
want me to go ahead? We had a little confusion because I appointed someone from Bubba's district as a District 3 representative, and it's Carl Joseph Juno, and I'd like to reappoint him at this time.
You got one, Bill?
Yeah. I have one. It's Buford Elliott, and he's going to be replacing someone whose time expired actually in last November. So I'd like to go ahead and appoint him.
I make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Wascom.
Second.
To reappoint
All three.
all three. Chris Whitmore.
We're reappointing two, and we're appointing one.
Okay, okay.
So it's Chris and Robert Bourne.
No, Carl Joseph Juno.
Paul Joseph,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And then we're appointing Buford Elliott.
Right.
All right, do I have a second?
Yeah.
Mr. Girlinghouse. All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
That's good.
All right, Gravity Drainage District Number 7, resignation. Mr. Tad Lobel.
It's my appointment to the Gravity Drainage 7. Jerry Daniels did a great job on there, but she just needs to step down, and so we need to accept her resignation this evening.
All right. Motion by Mr. Lobel to accept the resignation. Have a second? Second by Mr. Harris.
Can I just say real quick that we received her letter on January the 4th in our office, and it stated her resignation would be effective on October 10th, the date of the letter.
Okay.
That's what
Are you gonna try and appoint somebody this time? We're gonna wait until down the road?
Not right now, we're just gonna wait. I don't have anybody to put there right now.
Okay. I know it's important we keep those boards in place. That we're gonna need them because we're gonna get this done.
Yeah.
We hope so.
Yeah, gotta get it done. All right.
All right. So we have a motion by Mr. Lobel, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. Fire Protection District Number 7, reappointment. Mr. Jeff Avery.
Yes, got two, Mr. Jerry Parker and Mr. Donald Sibley. I want to reappoint those. Make that motion.
Donald Sibley. Motion by Mr. Avery.
Second.
Second by Mr. Girlinghouse. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? And I think we're going to scratch 17 and 18. Mr. Mack's not here. That is the minor subdivision and pond ordinance. We're going to get around to that one day. One day we're going to get around to that.
We're just deferring it to the next meeting?
We're deferring it to the next meeting.
You got a different picture than I got. I got trailers all around on my picture.
All right. Number 19, request of waiver intended for the allowance of permitting due to the restrictions of LP number 17-22, section 13-46.1, prohibition and restrictions of use for mobile home manufactured homes to be placed in the main subdivision for the intent on-site custom-built single-family homes. And I think we have just one.
Yeah.
One, and this is, and Mr. Scooter Keynes.
Yeah, I got a call from, I guess, Lauren, one of the ladies sent me
Alice
a...
Mills.
Yes. And she's wanting to add, I think she's wanting to move her elderly mother into a trailer on her own property. And I make a motion just to make a waiver for her to do so.
Got a motion by Mr. Scooter King. Second. Second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
This is a different picture. What is that last picture?
It's just a blown up.
All right, number 20, District Attorney report.
No report.
No report.
Congratulations to the new officers.
Committee reports. Ordinance Committee, Mr. Mack's not here. Finance Committee.
We'll meet next, meet at 5:30 for the next meeting.
All right. And 22, Councilman's comment.
Yeah, if you don't mind, yeah. It's been a pleasure working with everyone on this board for the past 2 years. And even Scooter. And I want to thank everybody for, I'm losing my voice. I want to thank everybody for their vote and making me co-chairman. And I hope I can do the same job that Jeff has done as co-chairman. That's all I have. Thank you.
And I'll come behind you and say thanks to everybody for giving me the task of chairman, and I know I'll do the job Tracy did.
Only better.
Only better.
Well, you got Bubba helping you. I had you. So,
There you go.
That was bad, wasn't it?
so you probably will.
Yeah.
You fell right into that.
Hey, look, we've been doing that a long time.
Done a good, another good
More
year, y'all.
comments from the council?
I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Girlinghouse. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Yeah, I'd like to make a adjourn.